everybody. Welcome back again to our Big Vex podcast. My name is Idoesit. I have with me Mr. Ekemini Ekwere. Mr. Ekemini is the host of Uprooting the Issue podcast on YouTube. Please follow him, like, subscribe. He talks about very important things. So I'm going to have him introduce himself to us. Go ahead, Mr. Ekemini Ekwere. Could you introduce yourself to us? Tell us a little bit about you. We'd love to know you more.
All right, thank you very much. Fantastic wishes of the season to you all, amazing viewers. This is Ekemini Ekwere, your host at Uproot the Issue podcast. Of course, it's a podcast that is so passionate about you, your personal growth. That's what we do there. And I'm so happy to join you.
Very good. We're happy to have you. We're very happy to have you. So
Thank you very
today
much.
we're going to discuss career choices, right? How do you pick
Yeah,
your
sure.
career? How do you pick something you're passionate about? When does that happen in your life, and how do you grow it? So, I want to talk to you or ask you about your career choices. What made you decide this is something that you want to pursue? At what point did that come to you? Was it a class you took in school that enlightened you? Or was it something you saw, somebody you saw? So just let us know a little bit about, you know, your career, something that you consider to be your career.
Okay, so when talking about career choice, I really love to establish the first thing, which is your definition of career. Of course, many persons may have definition of career, but for me and for what I feel you too should understand about career, career has to do with your marketplace where your talent thrives. The marketplace where your talent thrives. That means it is a region where you exchange your service for reward. That's why so many persons may, kind of confuse career with occupation. Career is your calling, your lifetime calling, which is there is something you need to offer in the society to solve that problem. So if you are in your career and how you should identify your career is what is your talent? What is that gift you have? What is in you which can transform the life, which can change the present state of another person? So that is what career is all about. So concerning my own career choice, I found it as a deliberate effort concerning my destiny, where I will explore the gift which God gave me. Because I believe that no man came on earth without something. As you came to this world, you came with a purpose, and the purpose is the language of your career. What are you going to fulfill? So God built in me and installed in me what I will use to satisfy and what I will use to change the life of another, which is my word, the power of my words, the power of communication. So I discovered this, I think, at during my uh, high school, almost rounding up everything, close to the secondary school period. That was around 2000 and, 18, 19. So I got to discover my own career. I got to discover that I'm so good in using my words to change the present state of a person. I mean, if someone was sad, I was able to use my words. I was able to use the power of language to give the person the motive, the reason to survive, the reason to strive, the reason to, upscale in every situation he or she found himself, and that's motivation. And I was so good in it. And so people were like, "Wow, you seem like a motivational speaker. You're so good in this thing." So the encouragement from the family and no other, I was so good in speaking in the sense that I command authority while I speak. It necessarily doesn't really mean that I too much have content, but once I speak, I see attention from people. They were just like, "What's this guy going to say? He's just too small and short." So what is he going to say? What's the interesting thing he has to say? But then I see that attention. I see it speaks so much in me. That comes to the water. Wow. So a whole lot of persons are just waiting to listen to what this short guy will have to say. So That is when I discovered, woo, that means communication is my area. It is my calling. I am
Mhm.
there. And I had to, explore it. I had to pursue it. And I had to be here where I am now today. So I'm so happy because with your career, you are very happy. You are satisfied. Whatever you do, it doesn't really mean that you need to push in everything. But the little you can offer, you are just satisfied, despite the fact that yes, there is no standard for perfection, but then there is that inborn,
Right,
inbuilt joy in you that you've been able to achieve something.
right.
That is how you need to know your career.
Beautiful. So you said a number of things that are very, very interesting, and a number of things that just in you talking about your own career, you also got into like a motivational speaking in a sense, right? So it's
Yeah,
like, what is this short guy going to say? You're telling people, despite how you may look physically, it doesn't matter. Your gift is your gift. You could be the smallest, shortest, skinniest person in the room, but you can have that confidence to go "Eritane God," so everybody just turns their attention to you and listen to what you have to say. So I think that was a great lesson in saying that a lot of people look around and say, oh, I'm not as wealthy, or I'm not from a big family, I'm not as well known, or I have a physical stature, or even a disability, right?
yeah,
Even
challenges,
the
yeah,
simplest, exactly, the simplest thing as stammering, right? People are like,
yeah.
nobody will listen to me because I have this speech impediment. Just speak. If that is your gift, speak up. That's really great that you said that. So I want to ask you a question about your career, and then you said something about your career and your occupation. Occupation is what you basically go to school for, and that's how you term it. And then the career is your own personal gift that you were born with, that was placed on you, your calling. So, do you think that both of those can coexist? Do you think that somebody can get an occupation that supports their career and vice versa, or does it always have to be like polar opposites of what you do for a living?
Okay. Everything just run down to one thing, which is your passion. And that's why I most advise people, whenever you make career decision, please understand what your passion is so that you won't jump into a loophole that you will
Mm,
never get yourself out. So try as much as possible to understand your passion. For example, I may have passion for writing, and at the same time, I may have passion for legal studies, studying about law, studying about the society. Okay, so now I may decide to study English in school, which
okay,
will help build my writing skills.
okay,
But there's something I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about seeing a justice, seeing justice in the society, and an injustice-free society. A society where justice
mm,
thrives, where the less privileged. I believe in something. The law was made to support man and not to humiliate man.
right,
So if
right,
a human being should understand that you should not use your own right stops where another man's own begins. So you shouldn't use the privilege you have to oppress others. That is my own passion. I'm so happy when I see that I've been able to speak for someone who I see that he or she cannot speak for himself. So now that is where my passion is. And now talking about
okay,
occupation and my career, please, the passion is my career. Now, I only need English and literary studies to upscale and to upgrade my writing skills. So now,
okay,
that is my occupation. The occupation is what I've gone to study in school. Okay, English and literary studies. I can do that as my first degree. Now,
okay,
coming to my career, I fit in masters, or I can even jump into Bachelor of Law degrees. Okay,
okay,
now I can bring them together. Of course, writing, as a good lawyer, you should have that skill of writing. At least your content should be rich because it's from your writing that you'll be able to communicate your thoughts. So now I can
absolutely,
be a teacher of English. I can help people. I can teach people how to speak well, how to communicate fluently, how to, solve out speech impairments. And at the same time, I can, advocate for the less privileged, advocate for the downtrodden in the society. these can
Right.
coexist effectively. Because my writing skills here will help whatsoever, strategies I'm using to promote my passion. Yes, they can coexist very well.
I love it. I love it. I think that, sometimes we get so polar in our thinking that we feel that things are so far apart. So like somebody that is in the medical field, if their passion is in business, running a business, and understanding the ins and out of running a business, you're like, oh well, they don't relate. No, they do relate, because in the very thing that you're doing, running a business, it requires customer service. Even in the medical
Yeah.
field, when you're taking care of people, it requires customer service. You have to
Yes.
have good bedside manners, right? So those are things that customer service go hand in hand, because you know what? You're serving people on both ends, right? So you're serving people when they're the most vulnerable, when they come to you with a medical need. And also you're serving people in their place of need when they need to buy something from you. Either way, they're coming to you in their time of need. So it is very important that we understand that there is no linear lines when it comes to either pursuing your career or pursuing your passion or pursuing your they call the occupation, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm so happy that you put it in that sense. So I have a
Okay,
question
okay,
for
ma,
you,
let
one
me
more
let me
question
chip
for
in
you.
something. Let me chip in something what you
What
just
would
said now.
you go ahead? You're right, right, right.
Okay,
Jump
now
in.
you talked
Jump in.
about
Yes.
medical field and business, and I think there's a principle in medicine
Right.
that talks about,
Right.
I think, principle of beneficence, that says that if you can help the patient, please do no
Of
harm.
course,
The
yes.
first thing, do
That's one of the
do no
ethical
harm.
laws.
As though placing it in, it's more of conflict of interest, where you know vividly well that you can help this patient. This patient in question doesn't have the resources, the money that will be required to settle his or illness. And at the same time, what is
Mhm.
important here, the life of your person. Empathy runs in here. And your passion at the same time is applicable to business as well. Your knowledge of the principle of
Yes.
beneficence could be applied in business. Customer service
Mhm.
relation. Now, this is what your customer needs. Satisfaction first. The customer is very important. There's nothing you should do that you should exclude the interest of your customer. Even if the customer needs it needs to buy a close up, and vividly well that holding, your customer needs the holding very well. He or she needs oral B, because that's what basically is used in Nigeria here. Now, please look
Right.
for every possible means to give that oral B to your customer, even if you don't have it. You can just jump into another shop. What you are trying to do, that you are trying to tell your customer, oh, I'm placing you as my priority. Your happiness, your satisfaction is my priority. So you see now, occupation and career, they are coexisting, they are complementing each other.
They do complement each other. I think
Yeah.
people get scared because sometimes, when we talk about career, which I'm going to segue to my next question, people get concerned that occupation is more secured than career is, right? So when we're talking about having an occupation, getting to school, getting a degree, and establishing yourself, if you're talking about going to law school, establishing yourself as a barrister, working for a certain law firm, making a certain amount of salary, that you can take care of your family and all of that. And the uncertainty with career, as you put it, is that you would literally have to build yourself. So what would you say to parents that you know their children, because you said your family supported you when they saw that you carry a certain level of confidence in you when you're speaking. They supported you in exploring that. So what would you say to parents who their children, according to in our very Nigerian household or upbringing, when you're born you're predestined to be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, those big careers. So, what do you say to a
Yeah.
parent, an African parent, okay, that their children comes to them to tell them that what, my career or my interest is in acting. Okay, I want to be an actress. You know, instead of either continuing with medical school or in conjunction to medical school. So what would you say to a potential parent or family member, a big brother, a big sister?
Okay. All right. So what I do advise parents, and please, every parent listening to me now should note this. You are a representative of God on earth. That means you don't own the child. The main child, the child that is owned by God is
Mm,
greater, meaning that God determines what this child will become. You don't have any right at any point. It is of your volition, it is of your entitlement to decide for the child. Please don't do it. It is a sacrilege. You don't try it because it is God, the God that gave that child to you, nurtured the child, furnished the child, molded the child, and installed in that child the rays of light that will enable the child to explore in the world. So why decide for the child? What you should do is better study this child consistently from birth. Pay attention to the things this child loves to do, the passion. My child I saw a little child as of recent. Ma, this child draws. Like this child can paint you. Even when you are smiling, when you are laughing, the child just gives a photocopy of you. Of course, the child loves, like he loves using his mind to create beauty of nature. Why not identify that, oh, this child will become an artist? This child can use his or her skill to present the beauty which you cannot see as a person. Because I recently have heard someone say, I'm not so beautiful, I'm not so this, I'm not so that. But there's someone that can fix in your beauty in a template, a portrait that you self, you were like, wow, or more, I find like this. I say, no. So that's what I advise a parent. Note the passion. Passion is very important. Note what your child is good at doing.
right.
Recently, because I live with kids, you see, this child was able to. I know the child doesn't really is not really good. We have different stages of development in children. We have fast learners. We have
Absolutely.
children that they are very fast. Those ones that we call they were born with silver spoon. That one, they are very, very brilliant. And we have students that are just struggling. They are struggling to understand and get to learn. So now they are not really fast learners. But this child is not really a fast learner per se. But this child can construct. Give him anything that just spoiled in the house. This child will immediately fix it back, and it will work. And I was like, wow, not that this child is good in technology. You nurture him or her, monitor him or her in an electrical and electronic field. That is where that child is. But you use the child as a source and symbol of investment, and it's so disgusting to say this. That is what most of our parents in African parents do. You see, you were not able to achieve something when you were young or at a particular age that you should have, because there are stages of achievement in life. Once you are 20 to 30, there are things we should expect you do. And once you are 40, there's something that you can never ever achieve in this life again. There was a time limit for that, which you would have achieved it. You wanted to do this in life, you wanted to do that in life, you were not able to achieve that to become rich, and you use your child as a symbol of investment. Imagine telling your child, go and study law, or and study medicine and surgery, so that you will become rich, you'll be a medical doctor, you'll be this. Yes, it's fine. Becoming a medical doctor, you'll be rich. But then, is that the joy of that child? Is it what the child will gain happiness in doing? Because I do beg parents,
Yeah.
please, once you are deciding for me, yes, you've decided. It is your role as a father. But there is one thing you should note. The consequences in every decision, it follows a corresponding consequences. Consequences follows. Are you the one that will suffer this pain?
Absolutely.
How will I be in the theater? And at the same time, I will be thinking of using my hands to fix back spoiled appliances in the house. How will I be thinking about that? That is where my passion is. You didn't help me. You didn't nurture me. You didn't take over your responsibility to guide. So that's what I tell parents. Please guide your words. Guide your children. Don't decide for them. Don't control their lives, because you
Right.
will never. One thing about this life is all about, life is all about satisfaction. That is all these things we are doing is
Right.
ends in one thing, happiness. That is what Aristotle called the summum bonum. Everything we are doing in life, it all ends in happiness. Without you being happy, I bet you
Yep.
you won't be doing this. It is part of your happiness. That is why you came up here to, have this conversation. So if it doesn't end in happiness, what's the essence of life? What am I doing here? So that's it.
So well, you said so much that, oh my goodness, there's so much to dissect. It was so, so, so good. So good. So, first, and there's something that is really missing in, our culture. And, it's not like we don't have the concept of it. It's just that it feels like we don't practice it. Even we name children the time cannot pass. But often we put like a time limit on when somebody can achieve something, and that often leads to resentment, or like you said, putting the pressure on your child to become what you wanted to become, that you were not able to do it. um I teach. I'm a professor, and it brings me joy when I see people in their 60s in my classroom chasing their dreams, okay, going back to school, reinventing themselves. So this is something that we should also practice. I understand that we live in a society that is very money driven. Like, if you don't have the money, you cannot get it. But this is an opportunity for whoever is listening to this conversation. If you have it in your heart, if God planted a seed in you, or the universe, or whoever you believe in planted a seed in you to do whatever you need to do, you cannot put a time limit on yourself. Okay, go back, chase that dream however you want to. Let people connect you to how you can chase that dream. That's one. Two, I have met many of educated people, seemingly educated people, who feel their responsibility is to push their children only to the career path they want their children to go in. And I've tried having this conversation with them, but anybody who knows me knows, if I have a conversation with you and it's a seed that I'm trying to sow, and I know if that seed is falling on rocks, I'll leave it alone. Okay. As long as I sow that seed, I'm good. Okay. This person did not see the problem with saying he wanted his son to be a surgeon general, and he carved the path, decided what school, which school, which how many years, da da da, carved everything for this boy. Okay, what if this is not what he wants? No, I need him to do that so he can take care of me, so his name can be here. Right? It's not always what you want for the child. It's not always what you want. You can plant the seed and say, hey, son, I want you to achieve this. I want you to go here. This will do great for you. This will bode well for you in life. You'll be able to walk into rooms like this. You'll be able to have these positions in life, or acquire this level of fame. But if that is not what that person wants at that time, okay, I'm all for pushing education. I'm all for getting yourself situated in life so you can be self sufficient. But I cannot make a decision. I will give you options, okay? I will give you options. So out of five options, you can pick two, three, even one, but you gotta pick an option. Okay, I cannot determine what you pick, but out of your passion that I see growing in you, I'll make sure you have access to those things. That's what I practice as a parent, right? Iko silver spoon ke tangami. We learn very differently. We learn very differently. When I was in secondary school, in Akwa Ibom, um, at the time in my life, that there was just so much going on for me as a young lady that nobody knew, but I
Hmm.
was struggling. And my primary school grades did not reflect my secondary school. I would say about just two to just three grades. They were very different, right? It's just because at the time my studying was not my priority. So when I took my junior WAEC, that determined what class you would be going into for your SS1 through 3. I was always very strong in sciences. I love sciences, but because of at that time my passing score was not the greatest, I was put into a business class. Okay, nothing in that class interested me. right? Nothing in that class, SS1 through 3, interested me. But I had to study to pass because I had to graduate at some point, right? Um, I wanted to be in a science class, but because we have this, framework that determines your level of intelligence, or what I feel your level of intelligence should be.
Yeah, science
That's
students
the
are very
box that we
intelligent.
place them.
Science are very intelligent.
Yes, that can be very discouraging to anybody. Okay, so the children that you're talking about with a silver spoon are not necessarily the brightest kids. They have more options. Okay, they have more resources. Okay, they have more people believing in them. Okay, as opposed to a child who may have, or who may be growing up in a household that is not economically advantaged, right? So, they have a lot of responsibilities. They have to wake up and take care of their younger siblings, feed them, get them dressed for school, after they bathe them, make sure that, they drop them off at school, or even help their mother to the farm. Eke bombong. And it's very different from a child that is woken up in the morning, somebody helps you bathe, somebody makes sure your
Already
breakfast is
fix your
prepared, your
meals,
uniform is
prepare
dressed.
food.
Exactly. That is very different, right? So the time the pampered kid has to study and focus on their studies, the child that
Hmm.
is growing up in an economically disadvantaged home is more responsible for their siblings. So by the time they have time to study, they are tired. They're lighting a lantern to sit down,
And you'll be
to
dozing,
study,
dozing while reading.
dozing off while you study, and you still have to get up the next morning at 5, 6
Still to
a.m.
do
in
the
the
job.
morning to take care of
Hmm.
everybody. So that is the difference, right? That is the huge
Yeah.
difference with that. Well, going back to what I was talking about, once I graduated, and I left in the country, and I was able to kind of determine my life path. It was my decision. I came into healing. I healed. I did what I needed to do with myself to grow and continue to grow. It was not an easy path, but you know what? I was able to, steer my life back on the track that I wanted my life to be on. I focused and I did what I needed to do, and that's why I have the career that I have today. So, unfortunately, if somebody's in an environment where they don't have support or the ability to steer themselves back to the path, occupation wise, or just basically passion wise, unfortunately, there's usually a lot of regret, and that what you just talked about, projecting it onto your children, often happen, right? Because you know what? It comes from two places. It's either I am trying to achieve something that I couldn't achieve it in my life, no matter how hard I try because of circumstances, or I don't want you to suffer the way that I have suffered because I want you
Hmm.
to make something of yourself, right? So there's a saying that every good, the whole road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? It's something that you may be doing, with good intentions, but how does it bode for the person in the receiving seat? So it is basically that empathy and placing yourself in that person's shoes. Is this something that this person wants? If this is a career field that this person actually wants to pursue, absolutely. Right. Push them, encourage them, support them. But somebody doesn't want to, but just because of for both some kick and for it must happen this way. It's not
As all we don't get
it's
it.
not going to be it's not going to be the best outcome for both of you. So yeah,
Understand.
you just touched on a lot of things. But for the traditional African parents, right? What do you say to the
Yeah.
traditional African parents that may say to you that this is the new age thinking of the parents not deciding their children's occupation or even careers?
Okay. All right. Back to what you. Well, I'm really touched with your life story. I think it's something you should document it. Yeah, because yeah, I feel it's something you should document. Once in a while you get to play these and listen to it. I just believe how we life, all the experiences we've been through could be, compressed in a disc, which we can just insert in,
Right.
play, watch the video, and we sit back and reminisce. Ah, wow. So is this really me? Is this me today? Who could believe you 30 years ago, 40 years ago?
I know. I know. I believed it. Nobody did, but I believed it. That is why, self esteem and believing in yourself is a huge thing.
Very important.
There was so much that could have made me just distrust myself, disbelieve in myself, and not feel like I could achieve a lot of things that, I'm blessed to be able to achieve today. But I believed in myself, and that is often something that most people don't get either. From the environment, family members,
Hmm.
or people they come in contact with, because a lot can be said to disparage you as a person. Whether rightfully deserved or not. you know um People, when people are not gentle with you, you learn to be gentle with yourself. When people are hypercritical of you for no just cause, learn to appreciate yourself. Um and if you see a young person being hyper criticized, or people not just saying the nicest thing about them, be the different person. Be that one person that supports that person, whether it be like defending the person in front of other people, or just telling that person, you know what, don't even worry about it. I believe in you. You're doing great. Just keep on doing whatever you're doing. You're loved, right? I had that one person in my life. That person
Wow.
believed in me back then, until this very day, right? Until this very day, that person is a strong pillar when it comes
So
to
is this one person?
supporting me and me. Huh? What did he say?
Who is this one person? Who is this one person? What is
Oh, this
your
one
word, your
person.
statement to the person?
I'll just this one person. I'll call him by the name everybody calls him. His name is Franklin. His name is Franklin. I'll give him the honor
Wow.
he deserves. His name is Franklin. This person, I've never felt respect as a young lady. This person respected me as a young lady. He
Wow.
was a pillar of telling me, you know what, you're okay. You're okay. You're just fine. You are just fine. You're just. It's not you. It's like I don't believe anything. I believe what you're telling me. So, be that person. Be that person. Be that young person. You just never
The person
know.
is a Nigerian.
You just never know. Yes, absolutely, 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 yes. Absolutely, yes. When you
We
trust
still have people that
somebody
could encourage in
and
Nigeria. Wow.
no, seriously, it's something that most people don't think about, but you absolutely can be a life or death um reason for somebody. You absolutely,
Hmm.
you don't know what one word of encouragement can do for somebody. You just never know. To you, it's just saying something. Iko kedo, metangama akwenge. That's
Medangama.
that's not, for that person it could be what they were looking for, reaching for, wishing for, because it just feels like in the environment everything is just too much. So you just never know. Be that one person for somebody. It doesn't always
Wow.
have to be monetary, because the one thing that we think about all the time is monetary, but emotional investment is far more greater than anything money can buy. So be that one person for somebody. So yeah,
Be that one person for somebody. Captured. My
absolutely,
watchword for tonight.
absolutely.
Okay, so you were talking
Be that
about the
one person.
traditional pattern of our parents to kind of
Yes.
molding our career choices compared to what we have
Mm-hmm.
today in the modern era. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So now I will really love to reflect on these quotes that in life, the choices we make and the choices we must have actually decided upon is influenced by the incident or the situation surrounding that very moment. Okay, so in the traditional era, most of our parents actually decided or choose a path that will follow in life due to the experiences that the family was exposed to. For example,
Right.
if I am, I was raised from a family that is kind of let's say yeah less privileged. We feed from hand to mouth, and this family is exposed. Chances be that the family will be exposed to subjugation. Land will be seized, oppression will come.
Right.
They will seize the only source of living from you. They don't care. This privilege, you can survive. I've seen a man that farm like he's just into farming and he sends all the children to school. Emo boy kon to me ma. Unam ador ko mi wi yaka ngong mong ador ko wi yaka aria mbia aboy in MSF. Tell me what won't push you to tell your child to study law. Just tell me. Just one reason.
Wow.
What will not push you to insist that even that your child self, even if again you need to become a medical doctor, he will be forced to study law. Why? Because ndoko gbono boko kufa. Amara su for 1 month and yet you go this ndoko ro ku tom. When see there is that emotion that that intrigues within a life of a child when he watches his or her parents crying. It's
Right.
so disgusting. The child will be forced to do something. The child will be so
Right.
ashamed to do something. He will try as
Right.
much as possible in this life, even if it means giving his last. So he will go and study law. Law with the essence that he means all the lands that were confiscated will be got back. He will
So
get everything and he will even fight for the family. So this with situations influence our parents those days, which is yes, at that point it is right because you can't continue to exist like this. So that's why most parents decided that, oh, my child, you've seen how the situation of the family is. We've been struggling in life. We've been trying as much as possible to exist. We've been doing this, that, but you've seen every effort prove abortive. So now you need to study law so that you get to help us. You see, so the child will, insist to go and then go for study law in the high school or the university, as the case may be. So that is for the traditional aspect. But in the modern era, well, things have changed. You see, parents now, parenting model has really changed. It has changed from a regimented or more or less a family-centered approach to a child-centered strategy. So the parent now gets to allow the child, watch the child grow, communicate with the child, get to know what the child loves, what the child needs, what the child will become, and go with that. So the parent now focus on this new strategy to excel, either other than the family-centered approach that everything the child needs to do must center on the growth of the family. Now the father now will get to train the child concerning the future of that child, because with the future, every other thing that was lost will be achieved.